now going to meet with a physicist named Brooks Agnew, who says that he can prove in a laboratory how HAARP can be used to manipulate weather. We'll see. How are you, man?
Hi, how are you?
Pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
What do you got going on here?
Well, we've built this 128 cubic foot cloud chamber. What we're going to do is demonstrate how, on a small scale, how HAARP would move weather around.
How did you get involved with this stuff?
I invented a portion of this technology called ground probing radar back in the early 80s. I used it to explore for oil and gas. I had a unique situation occur up in Roseburg, Oregon. Went up there with the technology, which was basically a broadcast unit mounted on an ATV. Turned it on, and a couple seconds later, big boom. It just triggered an earthquake.
That created an earthquake?
Yeah. Joe, we were only using 30 watts.
That alerted you that something like HAARP, which is infinitely more powerful, could create earthquakes.
Yeah, it's about 20,000 times more powerful than what we were using. What we're using today is about 2 kilowatts, or about 1,000th the power of a normal HAARP antenna.
And how
I want y'all to pay close attention to that hot lamp right there, okay?
does this cloud chamber demonstrate what HAARP can do?
Well, what we have suspended above this is a mister. What we're going to do is create a cold fog inside this chamber.
And what's going on down there?
This is a high voltage generator. What we're going to do is couple that field with these 3 radiators, very similar to the way HAARP works. We'll demonstrate how HAARP would move weather around.
Okay, but before we go too far, there's someone else I'd like to join us.
Okay?
Come on in. Brooks Agnew is a physicist, and he claims that he can prove in a laboratory experiment that HAARP can be used to manipulate the weather. Before we go too far, there's someone else I'd like to join us. One look at Brooks Agnew's fish tank and my meter is starting to go off. So I brought in Mick West to see if he could make some sense out of Brooks Agnew's contraption. Good to see you again. It's time for a believer and a skeptic to face off. You don't believe that HAARP has the ability to manipulate the weather?
I think basically I don't think it has enough power to manipulate the weather. It's like, tossing a hot rock into a river. It's not going to do very much to the river.
No basis in fact.
That has no basis in fact?
Exactly. All the atmosphere in between is affected by the HAARP.
Well, I think that's incorrect. I think what actually is being heated is just a portion of the ionosphere.
The phased array doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Every ham operator on the planet disagrees with you.
Wait a minute. Who's right here? I'm too stupid to know which one of you guys is right. Okay, I'm skeptical, but I'm willing to keep an open mind. Maybe Brooks is going to blow my mind.
So I'll go ahead and turn it on right now. There are no fans, there are no heaters, nothing in there is getting hot at all. All that's happening now is a static charge is building up on those aluminum registers. What we should see is that water vapor is going to start moving up through that light. And in about a minute and a half, virtually all this water vapor will disappear.
How long would it take for the water vapor to disappear organically without us?
Well, it might stay there for an hour by itself. All that water vapor is starting to come up, and it's almost all gone now. And you can see the turbulence directly around those registers.
I'm starting to see the turbulence.
That's exactly the way HAARP works. And I'm not saying that you could create weather, but you could move the weather patterns where you wanted them to go.
You could manipulate it.
Right.
Mick, does that make sense to you that this would recreate or mimic the effects of HAARP?
No. So what it does is it creates an electrical field around the device, which will charge things around it.
This is just a simple rotating magnetic field. There's obviously high voltage in there. I'm just making a fair scientific case, and you can see that this is cool to the touch.
Right. Is that box
There's
though?
no heat.
Feels kind of warm in here.
That's warm.
This is hot.
That's hot.
It's warm.
That's pretty warm, man. Very warm.
That's very warm.
Very, very warm.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, YouTube. Remember I told you to pay attention to the light bulb that was in the cylinder, that little isolated room that he made? Okay. Well, I guarantee you that that light bulb wasn't as hot as this, what you're seeing right now. But this was an experiment done with my ham radio and an antenna that I made, especially to show y'all the RF coming off the antenna. The radials that are coming off the tips of that are small. The reason why I done that is so you could see the RF coming off and the heat that it creates. Although it is creating more heat at that point of resonance right there, is not the point. The point of what I'm trying to tell you, and what the guy didn't get to say, or he did say and they cut it out to make the video, is that electricity, no matter what kind, man-made or natural occurrence, it's got heat in it, no matter what. So folks, understand that the man that was doing that experiment was doing it in the best way of his ability, because you cannot get the resonance of these antennas to resonate in closed-in metal boxes with metal frames running around them. It is very hard to do. It's going to create heat, and the heat is going to cause the moisture to move. But let's don't forget the light bulb. Please don't forget the light bulb that gets hot and it's in the top of the box, but the moisture still went up. Why is that? Can anybody answer that? You know, Mick West, first off, is no scientist. He really doesn't know what he's talking about. Why him being a skeptic just because he's got money? He got on a TV show to debunk a physicist? Really? He thinks he knows more than someone that actually has done the experiment and created an experiment for him. Why didn't he show the one with the tube where he had the antenna inside and it was only using 100 watts, and that was an antenna inside, like I'm showing here? Just a straight antenna with wires going to it. Nothing got hot in that, and the moisture still moved. Why did they show that? Oh, the mainstream media wouldn't allow them to do that, would they? So Mick West is proven right with all of his millions of dollars that's created all of these debunked, no researched bullshit that has been put out throughout the YouTube industry, the blog industry, and worldwide to debunk. Not only does he debunk this man, he also debunks Nick Begich in this full-length video if you watch it. Folks, do you understand the implications of what I just told you? Folks, if I could take this antenna with that flame on it and put it inside of a plastic box with that moisture, I would move the moisture to the top of the box. Mainly because of the heat. But what do you think actually moves the moisture to start with? Do you think it's cold air? Do you think it's anything other than that? No. Radio frequency transmitted signal has heat to it. In high volumes and high wattage will create heat. That's what it's intended to do. That's why it heats the atmosphere. That's why it heats the ionosphere. That's why it lifts the ionosphere with all the aluminum that they tried to debunk on here as well. Really, folks? Do you really want to believe the bullshit yet again? Are you that insecure with what you see in your face? Really? Are you? Tell me you're not, because I don't believe that. I don't. I don't believe it because I know too many people out there that know that this is true. Radio frequency waves can be changed. And don't forget, not only that, radio frequency is also data now as well. They transmitting data. Why else are they spraying in them chemicals? You know? Maybe they trying to, teach that stuff to do something? Are they putting memory in the stuff in the space and sky? What are they doing? Do we know? We've shown multiple times of multiple people saying that they're going to own the weather in 2025. Really? And what does that mean for us? It can't be done. We're supposed to sit back on our thumbs and think electricity and all of the microwave frequencies that they are transmitting all over this country, where they changed it from 200 megahertz to microwave frequencies, is supposed to be good for us. Really? Are you still sleeping? Or have you waken up to the fact that we are alive? For how long? There's no telling. Because they can use this equipment against you in many ways, from your brain waves to every wave that's known to man that they can transmit on, that they have created a way to get to that frequency to use in some way or another. So I hope this answers y'all's questions. And, please do your own diligence and do your own research. My God, there's plenty of places to do it. But let me tell you that what I've told you so far is the truth, and that man too. So wake up to the fact, and remember one other thing. Listen to the rest of this and abolish the Act 1871. We can't do nothing to this until we abolish the act. So much love to y'all. And y'all have a good evening now, you hear?
I mean, that's hot. That's actually annoying.
It's not what I would say is hot, but it's...
I wouldn't want that on my balls. You'd be like, oh, this sucks. Right?
Yep.
This guy put a lot of effort into this, and it's obviously nonsense. Everything with his experiment was wrong. It's not radio waves, it's electricity, it generates heat.
It's almost certainly heating the water molecules.
I'm not a scientist, but if I can tell you your science sucks, then your science really sucks.
And just one more added thing. For a person that's supposed to be on the Freedom Act, you need ratings or something to go and do what you've done. Or you're really not a believer and you're paid to hurt the people that have worked so hard to get this information out. And you believe in HAARP because you don't want it used on you. So with that, folks, much love to y'all. Y'all have a great evening. And for God's sakes, don't believe these effing morons anymore, because that's all they really are, is morons. People like this are morons. Steve West too.